Hello, and good morning. Alright, so, some stuff has changed since last time, namely, everybody's max level now. This is the only way that I see this group even having a chance at surviving the very end of the game. Namely, there's a lot of, I believe, unavoidable damage that they end up taking, and, well, I don't recall any squishy units making it past that. I usually end up losing all healers and casters and everything else. With exception to some of the tankier ones, like if Sybil makes it there, kind of thing. But at any rate, moving on here. So we've got a new weapon sacrifice for Steve. So this is kindness. Figured, you know what, the other one was lacking in, must have been lacking in strength or whatever. So I believe the secondary one still gives them their massive bonuses. So this should double up in the strength. This one should be just absurdly strong as it is. One thing I actually noticed while testing all of these is a giant is basically capable of one-shotting them even without a level advantage. So there's a very good chance that any of the giants that show up in the story from this point on have a very real possibility to just insta-kill anyone but Steve. Steve should be okay with the Fire Crest, but it would be kind of absurd to give those to everyone, so it's just Steve that gets one. Lance is typically tanky enough to just deal, as is Eleanor, but yeah. Ivana is just the drill sergeant for the army. She doesn't actually fight, as has been previously mentioned, and Deneb is just kind of, I guess, squatting in the camp somewhere. She's just hanging out. He just is around and nobody knows why. But yeah, so 7 of the 8 from last time ended up getting vaporized in the time stream or something. It turns out no cache, the emulator that I use, is, as I understand it, just the absolute worst. I understand that it's the only one that still has a bunch of glaring issues, but this also was the only one that I could find that properly would show up on OBS. Well, anyway, apparently the issue that it has is if you go and do a hard save into the game, it doesn't actually save it. It apparently save states it and then turns it into a hard save when you close out. So what had happened, I ended up going and grinding up those other 8s and getting another version of kindness here. Got them all to the same point, more or less, and, well, it did not... It ran into critical existence failure. It basically just crashed as soon as I went to save. And it just completely reverted back to right after Astoria. That was interesting. On a side note, I think this is my favorite design for a giant ever. Just everything about it, including the weird 80s like dance bands going on there. But yeah, back to the point here. We got some new peoples. Also, Dummy is dead, so this is Dummy Dose. I was going to go with Too Dumb, but that would have been too dumb. At any rate, yeah, Dummy just got eaten in a random battle. I forgot and mistakenly picked them instead of somebody else, and a dragon came up and ate them. So, rip Dummy. Anyway, so, replacement people. Mosquito is a replacement to Mosquito. Turns out they had an unknown sister or something. They were the one that also went off to law school, but this one just went and basically became some kind of like civil attorney that ends up getting really underpaid and just kind of hangs out at the courthouse all day. So they've been relatively safe. They didn't really hear about what happened to the other ones until now. Rapari was, well, he overslept. His healing rate was absurdly slow, so he ended up sleeping twice as long as everybody else, and he did not go off and get vaporized, so he's fine. We have Fly, Cannon, Tim, Plant, Oatmeal, Lime, and, well, Dummy Dose. So, first things first, Steve demands sacrifices. Well, let's turn kindness into a weapon and see what happens. Because what's funny is at this point, a team of Ivana and this giant, and frankly just Ivana, is still able to easily out-heal Lance, Steve, and Vin at the same time. So with all their kill moves, all their everything, she's still able to just out-heal them. Yeah, knights aren't overpowered in this at all. Just, it's fine. Perfect balance. Which is kind of funny because, yeah, apparently there's a very steep drop-off in terms of how much damage some of these units can do. Because, yeah, with everything, Steve is still having a very hard time getting through the damage threshold. Alright, so Kindness is gonna snap. Yeah, listen to the music about 1 billion times here, so I just kind of wanted to have some synth music off in the background here, if you're wondering about that. Acquired Kindness. How nice, how nice. Okay, now, this gets replaced. Alright, so. Strength is going up to friggin', like, double now. So surely, now Steve should be just impossible to kill. Surely. It seems like this minor difference here might be worth... because that's going 1 movement tile up. And honestly, the difference in stats is kind of negligible at that point, so... I'll give them that until they get... well, they're at max level now, so they can't get any additional movement. So in order to make up for the weight of the Kindness, because it, you know, Kindness weighs heavy on Steve, he, she, it knows no mercy, so Kindness is a difficult concept. So, we've got every single, like, perk here that can possibly boost damage. We've got 2 friggin' Snapdragons and Atropos. Surely this will be enough. 577, yeah, so bear in mind, Steve's strength was already higher, but was still doing less damage than Lands. Once I went and tested them, so I believe, just like Lucht, these numbers might be a little bit of a lie. But we'll find out. So, next is the Ogre Helm battle. There we are. So this would be Richter telling him about this stuff. But instead it's Eleanor. Basically, if you go and kick out Richter, and occasionally if you kick out Vanna, you just get Eleanor for everything. Which is nice. They're all going off and dating and stuff. Okay, let's get the vet squad in here, I think. Yeah, these 4 are the only ones that have been around since the beginning. Everyone else is just kind of here. It's kind of amazing how much they didn't last, but whatever. So now, let's see. Suddenly at max level. Let's see if they can beat this thing. If he scaled up, first of all, no. There's a very, 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 very steep level difference between them. So, unknown Rimmon was driven to the brink of insanity, so he's just a guy that basically went crazy with grief, went into this cave, and turned into a daemon. Like a mix of, like, Japanese and Irish mythology, almost. Alright, so let's see how much of a difference this makes. Yeah, well, I mean, he's doing decent damage on a knight, but still. Now, let's compare with Steve. What can you do now? Good. Steve can finally do more damage than Lands. It took that much of a boost. And bear in mind, more than double the strength, more than double the attack score, he does 40 extra damage. That's it. I mean, there's some kind of weird damage scaling going on. I'm pretty certain of that one. So, we'll see how that all works out. Also, I got Vin War God. There we go. So Vin can now do as much damage as Lands can. So he got War God, he got Berserk, and Blood Rain. Thank you, Quest Mode, for making these safe. And yeah, everyone has Charisma now. Oh, he also has Don Quixote, but whatever, we won't look at that. The War God. There we go. As far as I can tell, War God doesn't actually, or Berserk, or whatever the hell that one was, doesn't actually reduce their intelligence to any meaningful degree. It decreases it by 30, but by this one it doesn't matter. Also, I completely forgot to equip most of these guys. Good job. Good job. Well, luckily that shouldn't matter too much. So now this is the very last attack boosting item. As far as I'm aware, this is the only attack boosting armor. So that's basically the last thing we're getting for Steve, seeing if it's worth sacrificing that Seraph Plume or whatever. Honestly, it probably won't be. But... Now, you may be looking at this and thinking, okay, 1%, they'll just never end up getting hit. Not true. So that 1%, I believe, in reality, bottoms out somewhere else. Because despite the fact that it says 1%, I have seen it get rolled twice in a row before. And not even like a ye olden way back then I saw it happen once kind of thing. I mean, like, it was doing those quest grinds, and yeah, 2 1%s got rolled in a row. And she ended up getting 3 in the entire fight, and it's like, okay, this is a little bit ridiculous. So, it's not... he tries to talk to him. It's not really... ideal. I guess is the main takeaway there. Alright, so we're gonna try and kind of morale chain this, so we're gonna go over here. Yep, he's still getting buffs, so we're gonna go ahead and drop that on you. Good job on your absurdly high defense. Steve is going to go drop his. Oh, another thing to consider is they also do not... yeah, wow. All those benefits and he can still only do 70. But yeah, so there are still a lot of unavoidable sources of damage, and that's basically what I'm hoping won't end the run at Share. Because once we get to that point, we're going to have... oh, jeez. Okay, so 209. Alright, first off, Vin needs a little bit of a heal here. Actually, Sans, you know what, go block him off. Man, I just love me some synth music. But no, so, when it comes to Share, they have a lot of really big, like, AoE spam moves that they love to do. Right. This guy would only do 54, that's acceptable. Despite the fact that his strength is pretty high. Truth be told, I'm not sure what the deal is with this guy. He's supposed to be like a giant as a boss, but he doesn't hit like one. Oh. We'll just go ahead and finish him off here right quick. Get that helmet, see if it's actually worth the effort. You know what, actually, let's just end the turn here. None of the rest of these guys are really needed. And there, the zombie shows how they come back. So now, like I said, there's really no practical additional benefits I can give all of them. Because at this point, they've all got, elemental at least weapons, and most of them have ranged weapons. Except for Luca, who needed his sword that was on fire. They've all got heavy armors, they've all got accessories on them. Like, aside from... I went and tested what giving them agility bands would do, and they're more or less, like, soft-capped wherever exactly that soft caps, because, it didn't seem to do a thing. Like, the chances for everything were either 1% or 99%. So... as it goes... alright, there we are. Yeah, Magic Missile is going to be the big one here. Kind of the main source of offense for everyone. Let's see what yours does. 73. Pretty much the same as Atropos, so yeah. Main source of offense. Alright, then finish him. So, kind of what I'm planning to do here is have most of them... yeah, he's Smeagol, by the way. Is essentially having most of them go and use their turn move over and over on Steve and Lance. So with any luck, that'll end up working out. Okay, now first things first here. You're fine. You are not. Right, where are all my bows? Why are my bows gone? Yeah, most of these guys are just probably gonna get kind of iffy gear because I just got whatever I got. I know you're a wind element, whatever. Have stuff that completely doesn't match you. You need a knife of some description. Or actually, no, you get the cleaver. I want Rapari to actually do some stuff. Nathaloric mail, why not? And Sherwood hat, also why not? And Surf Plume, or not. There we go, that looks about right. No bias whatsoever. Okay. Now, is this worth it, or is this going elsewhere? Reduce it by 1, strength goes up by 20. Makes Steve even more invincible. So, this right here is kind of the highest stats you're going to get for anyone. As you saw, he's still not doing amazing damage, but it scales super poorly, so what can you do? Now, his movement is 10 at this point. I might just go ahead and give him some plate so he's not having a hard time surviving. As far as I'm aware, the Whale mail is not actually in this one. So, I'm gonna give him a Brigandine. That looks about right. Sans... Feels like you need a Rapture Rose. That looks about right. As long as I can give them some manner of almost ranged, it'll work. I just don't want to give them basic weapons, since those are kind of... they're well beyond falling off in usefulness at this point. Alright, there we go, Volcatius. Got a lot of Volcatiuses, so that's good and nifty. Again, these are just kind of there for extra damage until they can use their missiles. Eleanor's fine. Tim, let's give you some Thunder Chain, why not? You know, they can already fly, but it'll do. Cannon. I want to give you. Feels like you need a flail. Yeah, you guys are basically the Suicide Squad. Just it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's all great and nifty. I'm gonna give you extra agility because you're going melee. Dummy Dose is there kind of as an extra. If I need a sacrifice unit, they're there, but I don't really see myself using them. Alright, you get that thing. I'm gonna completely just backpedal on that whole not going melee with anyone thing. There we go, so Lime and Cannon are gonna be the frontliners there. I think that's everybody equipped, more or less. And that looks pretty good. Probably pop these rings on everybody else to give them some chance of surviving. It, like, again, it seems excessive, and it seems like, hey, you know, they're never gonna get hit by anything. Yeah, that's what it seemed like last time, too, and then a bunch of them died. So we're gonna go ahead and not roll those dice again. It generally didn't go well. Yeah, give you one of those. Oatmeal's gonna be the super fast one. What are we gonna do with you, Fly? You a rabbi? I don't know. Yeah, this build makes sense. Yep. Seems legit. Yeah, Dummy's not even getting equipped. And there we go. That's basically the party all set. Alright, see you next time.